Hi everyone. In this video I'm going to work out some of the exercises on page number 2 of your homework 6.3. In exercise number 8 you have to solve by graphing. The first one is ready to graph. You can identify the slope and the y-intercept and graph. For the second equation, it's not solved for y, you need to solve for y and identify the slope, the y-intercept and graph. Both of them should be graphed here. You should find a system that has no solution. Do that. In number 9, you have to solve this system by substitution and you have to check. I am going to do this one. So for substitution, we take one of the equations and substitute it inside the other one. So we combine the two equations in one equation. The one that is solved for x or for y, that is the one that is placed into the other equation. Because for this substitution method, the first thing that you need is one of the equations to be solved for one of the variables. So you need either x equal to something or y equal to something, and then this equation is put into the other one. So we have x equal to something, so we're going to take this one and put it into the other equation. If you don't have this case, then you need to solve for x or solve for y, one of the equations. So I am going to do the substitution in the first equation. I'm going to rewrite here 2x plus 5y is equal to 3. And then I have the value of x, so I will substitute x right there. And x is equal to 3y minus 7. So this equation will become 2 times the value of x, which is 3y plus 7. That's the value of x, plus 5y equal to 3. Notice that once we do the substitution, the variable x doesn't exist anymore because it was replaced by this part. So the equation that remains here is an equation with only one variable, in this case, the variable y. So we solve this equation by doing any steps that requires us to do in order to solve the equation. So we have here a parenthesis that requires the distributive property 2 times 3y and 2 times 7. 2 times 3y is 6y, 2 times 7 is 14, and they are positive because positive times positive give us positive 6y, positive times positive, positive 14, and then we have plus 5y is equal to 3. The next step in solving this type of equations is to separate the variables on one side and the numbers on the other side. I will put the variables on the left side. So this gives us 6y minus or plus 5y. And then 3, and I will bring the 14 to the other side. And it goes with the inverse operation. So this positive 14 will become here negative 14. And now we combine the like terms by doing the operations. On the left side, 5y, 6y plus 5y, that gives us 11y. And on the right side, 3 minus 14, that gives us negative 11. The final step, divide by 11 on both sides. So y is equal to negative 1. That is only half of the procedure because the solution has to be a point with coordinates x, y. We only have y. So we now need to find our x coordinate, and to do that, we choose the simplest equation from the two original equations, which would be the second one in this case. X is equal to 3y plus 7. Substitute the value of y that we obtain on the first part here. Y is -1, so we substitute the y by -1. So this would be x is equal to 3 times -1 plus 7. And we solve for x. 3 times -1 is -3 plus 7. We only need to simplify on the right side, and -3 plus 7 is +4. And now we have our x and y values to write our solution. The solution is the point 4, -1, because we write first the value of x and the value of y second. So if we were to graph this system, these two equations will intersect at point 4, -1. I am not going to do the check. I'm going to leave the check for you to do it. Remember that there are two checks to be done. One with the equation 2x plus 5y is equal to 3. And then the other one with the equation x is equal to 3y plus 7. You have to get something true on both equations for this to be correct. That is the substitution method. Number 10, we have to solve by elimination, which is the last topic that we cover in class. Solve by elimination and then check. So in elimination, we need inverses such as minus 5x and positive 5x, for example, because these inverses, when combined, they combine to 0. That eliminates the x variable because those would add to 0. So we need inverses here. So the first thing that we should do is check whether we have inverses in our original system or not. If we check the x variable, there are no inverses here. And if we check the y variable, there are no inverses here, but we're very close of having inverses here because we have the same variable, the same number. The problem is that we have the same sign, so we want to take one of these negatives and make it into a positive. If we have -2y and +2y, then we will be able to eliminate the y's. So I need to make this negative positive. And how do we change a sign? We always change a sign by multiplying by -1. So I don't want to change the negative in the first equation. I only want to change on the second one. So I'm going to take the second one and multiply by -1. The entire equation is multiplied by -1, which means all the signs in the second equation will change. So I will keep the first equation exactly the same. That is 6x minus 2y is equal to 32. And on the second equation, we multiply each part by -1. So that will become negative 4x positive 2y equal to -18, because multiplying negative times positive give us negative, negative times negative give us positive, and negative times positive give us negative. So now that we have inverses here, we can eliminate them, and then we combine whatever we have left. Combining the x's, we have 6x minus 4x. So it's simply 6 minus 4, that is 2x. And on the other side, 32 minus 18. And that is equal to 14. The final step, solve for x, so we need to divide by 2 on both sides. And so x is equal to 7. So again, we want a solution that looks like a point xy. We only have our value of x. We need to find the value of y. So this is not finished. We need to do the second part. To do the second part, again, choose whichever equation you like. If there is an easier one, choose the easier one. In this case, I think both of them are exactly the same. I'll choose the second one here. And that will be 4x minus 2y is equal to 18. Substitute the value of x because here we have x. So 4 times the value of x, that is 7, minus 2y is equal to 18. And now we solve this equation for y. 4 times 7 is 28 minus 2y equal to 18. We need to subtract 28 on both sides, and that will leave us with negative 2y is equal to negative 10. Positive 18 minus negative 28, that is negative 10. And finally, we divide by negative 2. So this would be y is equal to positive 5 because negative divided by another negative give us positive. So now we have our two values to form our solution. The solution is the point 7,5. If we were to graph these equations, the lines will intersect at the point 7,5. So one more time for this, I will leave the check for you to do it. Again, remember that you have to check with both equations. In number 11, we have a real situation that is going to be represented with a linear function. Analyze the problem and see which one of the functions represents the situation. I will leave number 11 for you to do it, and I'm going to number 12. The situation here is very similar to number 11 as well, so if you are able to do number 12, you should definitely be able to do number 11. In number 12, an online book club charges a one-time membership fee of $10, and then it charges $2 for each book rented. Part A, write C of x, the function that represents the total cost for the membership and x books rented. Part B, complete the table, graph the function, and label the graph. So for part A, for writing the function is going to be C of x. And C of x represents the total cost. So C of x represents the total cost. So here we need to put the costs that we need to pay. And there are two costs that we need to pay. One, the one-time membership fee. So this is going to go alone because it's one time, it's only paid one time. And then it charges $2 for each book rented. The number of books is represented by the X. So X books rented. So $2 for each book rented. This represents the multiplication, and the number of books is represented with the X. And to find the total cost, we need to add these costs: the membership fee and the cost for renting the books. 10 plus 2x, or which is the same, 2x plus 10. 2x plus 10. In this case, we have our slope, which is 2. It represents the cost for renting each book, and the y-intercept represents the one-time membership fee, and the function c of x, the complete function, represents the total cost. So slope, cost for renting one book. Y-intercept membership fee. C of x, which is the entire function, total cost. That is what each part of the function represents for our situation. So that was part A, and now in part B, complete the table and graph, and then label the graph. So the function here would be c of x is equal to 2x plus 10. Here, when it says c of x, that means find the value of y, so we're finding the value of y. So here we will have c of 0 is equal to 2 times 0 plus 10. 2 times 0 is 0 plus 10. That is 10. That is only paying the membership fee and not renting any books. If you just do that, of course, the only cost that you have to pay, the total cost that you have to pay is $10. And then if you do rent one book, then C of 1 would be 2 times 1 plus 10. 2 times 1 is 2 plus 10 is 12, and it does make sense because you have to cover the membership and the cost of one book, of renting one book, and we know that renting one book costs $2, so it's 12. If you rent two books, then this would be 2 times 2 plus 10, which is 4 times 10, so this becomes 14. For C of 3, that is 2 times 3 plus 10. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 10 is 16. And C of 4, that is 2 times 4 plus 10, that is 8 plus 10, 18. So those are going to be the values of x and the values of y that you are going to use here on the grid. Notice that the values of x are small, so you can go one by one on the x-axis, and then the values of y need to get to at least 18 To see how you can adjust this, you can probably go by twos, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. So you can go by 20 by twos, so you can get to 20. And then on the x-axis, you will go by ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So I'm gonna leave for you to finish the graph. You have the function, you have the table. Do the graph, label the graph. Labeling means put the names, write the name of the x-axis, the y-axis, and what they represent, and write the names of each line. That is what labeling means. And that should be done in every single graph. Label means write the names. So I'm going to leave for you to finish this problem and the other ones as well. So finish this. And remember that you have to submit this worksheet completed, page 1 and page 2, on the day of the exam.